Welcome to Forms Boss Web. This tutorial will share with you some of the basic features of our software, and we'll begin here with our login screen. You'll enter your username and your password. And either hit enter or click OK, and it will bring you to the customer screen. Before I take you around the features of the customer screen, I want to draw your attention to these three menus along the top of the screen. The File menu is where you could go to log out of your account. There's also a log out link over here in the right-hand corner. Here is the View menu. You have your agency form. Let's take a look at that for a moment. This is where you could change information about your agency if you needed to. I will note that you cannot change your agency name on here. That's because it must match what we have with our records. So if you would need to change your agency name, you could just give us a call and we could do that for you. But you can change your address, your phone number, and all of that information here. If you wanted to make any changes in this form, you could make your changes and then click Save. And it would save that information for you. If you continued working and you noticed that the changes that you'd made were not taking effect, it could just mean that you'd need to log out and log back in again in order to be able to see the effect of those changes on your agency form. Also under the View menu, you'll see the Sales Rep form. We will take a look at that here a little bit later in the tutorial, but that's one place that you can find that Sales Rep form. And you'll also have opportunity to run different reports. There are 3 different ways that you can organize a customer listing here, so you can run your reports there under the View menu. This Help menu gives you access to this tutorial that we're listening to right now. It also gives you access to the official instruction guides for each individual Accord form. This Remote Assistance is a way that we could help you if you needed technical support, so you wouldn't want to access that unless we were on the phone with you instructing you to do so, but that's a handy tool in case you need some extra tech support. And this is the Contact Us feature that just gives you our address, phone number, and email addresses here at Forms Boss. So here on the customer screen, let's take a look at these buttons across the top of the screen, and I'll show you what each of those is designed to do. If you need to put in a new customer, you would just click Add Customer. It will give you a blank screen, and you can type in that customer's information. Down here you'll see that there's a category feature for Forms Boss. You can pull down this selector tool and you can select from a list of categories that you've already pre-entered, or if you click this edit button you can access that list and make changes. Let me show you that feature. So here's your category list. You can add a new category by selecting this button here. Type in your category and click Save, and you'll see that it added that category to the list. If I needed to edit one that was already in here, I would just select the one that I wanted to edit, click the Edit button, and it would pull it up so that I can make changes. And in order to delete a category, I would just select it and click Delete. It will ask for a confirmation. You'll click Yes, and it will take that category off of the screen. So we can close that window, go back here and select our category, and then finish typing in the rest of our information on our customer screen. It will automatically pull up today's date as the date entered. If you want to change that for any reason, you can either type directly over this, or you can also click on this button and it will pull up a calendar for you. You can navigate between months with these arrows here, and you can select a different date entered if you would like to. You've got different fields for various phone numbers listed here that you can fill in for your customer. You've also got an expiration date, which again you can just type in that field, or you can pull up the calendar with this button here. Here's where you would select a sales representative to assign to this customer. You can select from the list that you've already entered by pulling on this arrow here, or you can access your sales rep form by clicking on the edit button here. So this is your sales rep form, and it functions very similarly to your customer form. You would be able to add a new sales rep by clicking this button. And you could type in all the information about your sales rep there. You would click the Save Sales Rep button when you had entered the information for that rep, and it would save all your data there. This Refresh Record button will just allow you to have access to any data that might have been entered at another computer. So if someone else is logged in to your same account from a different workstation and they've been entering data on their computer that you want to be able to see on yours, you would just click Refresh Record and it would update anything that might have been entered elsewhere. You can also delete the sales rep by clicking here, and it will ask for confirmation. And if you needed to find a sales rep that you had previously entered, you would just search for one with this button. You can search by last name or first name of your sales representatives, or if you want to just see a full list of all of your sales reps, you could just click this Find All, and it will pull up the full list of all the sales representatives that you have entered. Down here at the bottom of the sales rep form, you have a section for notes, so you can keep a record of any information that you might want to keep record of on this sales representative's account. You can just type pages and pages of notes there. You also have a signature tab here. I will show you how to use the signature feature in Forms Boss a little bit later in this tutorial, but that's where we'll go to do that. So let me close out of the sales rep screen. We're going to go back to the customer screen, and we're going to select a sales rep down with the pull down menu there. And here we have a little toggle menu that allows you to label this person as either a customer or a prospect. You also have a checkbox here where you can label this account as inactive, or if you leave it unchecked, it will just be recorded as an active account. So that's the way that you would add a customer to the customer prospects form. When you'd finished entering all that data, you would want to make sure to click Save Customer. You have here again a refresh record button for if someone had entered information on another computer, you wanted to have access to that information, it would update the latest entry there. You can delete the customer here. Let me show you what happens when you do that. It will give you a confirmation, and it will confirm that it also will delete all of this customer's forms. So you don't want to do a delete customer unless you really want to get rid of all the records that are attached to that customer. But you can do that here, and you click Yes, and it will take you back to a previously entered customer. If you need to search for one of your customers, you'll see that here under the Find Customer button. And again, you can search by any of these three categories here simply by clicking on one of these. So I'm going to search by first name, and you can type in even just one character or more than one if you'd like. And you can press enter, and it will pull up all of the customers that you have that fit that criteria. So I have searched for all of the customers whose first names begin with the letter J, and you'll see that it's pulled up all of those customers for me. Now that I have this list here, I can organize it by clicking on these headings across the top, and it will put it in alphabetical order by the commercial name or the last name. If you click it again, it will put it in reverse alphabetical order. And then you would be able to select whichever customer that you're wanting to find, and you can go directly to that customer. You also have here a Find All button in the customer search mechanism that will allow you to access a full list of all of the customers that you have entered. I'm going to click OK, and it will take me back to that customer that I had selected. Here you'll see the Add Form button at the top of the customer screen. So let me show you the features of the Accord forms in Forms Boss Web. When you pull up the Add Form dialog box, you'll have the opportunity to search for the form that you're looking for, and you can search for either the number of the form or you can search for any word in the title of the form. So for example, if I wanted to search for the Certificate of Liability Insurance and I knew that that certificate is number 25, I could just type 25. I could either hit enter or I could click search, and it will pull up all of the forms that have the number 25 in them. And you'll see the Certificate of Liability Insurance listed there. Let's say that I didn't know what number that certificate was. Then I could just type in the word certificate, click search or hit enter, and it will bring up all of the forms that have the word certificate in the title. And here again, you'll see that one listed. You could also search by liability in order to find that form, or you could type out Certificate of Liability, and it would pull up the forms that had those words in the title. So once you've located the form that you're looking for, you want to come down here and you have an optional form description. You don't have to put in a form description if you don't want to. This is simply for your benefit, so that, for example, if you happen to have more than one certificate of liability insurance under this same customer, you can assign a description so that when you're looking at the form in the list, you'll know which form is which. You'll just be able to distinguish between forms based on this form description. So for example, one thing that you could do is you could put the certificate holder's name, and then when you've entered your optional description, you can just click open. And it will load the form for you. You'll notice when it pulls up the Accord form that it has your agency information and your customer's information pre-filled for you in the appropriate spots. And then you'll be able to just type in on screen to fill out the rest of this form. You can navigate between fields by using the Tab key on your keyboard. You'll notice that it will pre-fill the date entered for you here in the proper format, but you can change that if you'd like to. If you want it to have a different date entered, you can type over that. So you can tab to different fields using the Tab key on your keyboard, or you can also just click directly in a field to go straight to it in order to type something in. You'll also notice down here that some fields obviously are typable fields, but then other fields are checkboxes. And you can check those checkboxes either just by clicking directly on the box that you need to check, or if you tab to a checkbox, you could use your space bar or your enter key to check and uncheck those boxes. I'll also draw your attention to the fact that some of these fields require specific formats. So for example, this is a date field that has to be entered a certain way. If I don't enter in the exact format that it's asking for, I'll get a little error message here, and it will remind me to enter in the date format listed. And when I go back and make that correction, then it accepts that date as the proper format. Once you've made all of the changes and entered all the data into this form that you need to, you want to scroll back up here to the top of the screen, and you'll use this Save button that's beside the Accord logo on the form itself to save your data. It's very important that you use this button to save, because that's the way it will save to our server with Forms Boss. If you use the Save button in your browser, that's not going to save the data that you've entered. So you need to save it with this this button on the form itself. And it will close the window, and you can click Close Window. It'll go back to the customer screen, and you'll see that it has added this form that I just finished completing here to the list of forms at the bottom of this customer's record. You'll notice here in this Forms tab with the list of forms that there's a row of buttons across the top of the forms list. You have again here this Add Form button. It performs the same way that the Add Form button at the top of the screen performs. If you needed to edit the form, you would just select the form that you want to edit, and you could just click Edit Form. And it opens that form right back up for you, and you'll notice that the things that I entered earlier are still here, and I can make additional changes. Click Save again and close window again, and it will take you back to the screen, and your form has made those changes. You also have an email forms option here. Let me show you how that feature works. If you wanted to email 1 or 2 or 3 or as many forms as you want to, you just would select the forms that you want to select in the list, and you would click Email Forms. You've got a few options across the top of this email dialog box. You can select this checkbox if you want to receive a receipt when your email has been read. You can also change the priority level of your email here. And then you can just type into this just as you would send an email from a regular email program. You can type in your address that you're sending it to. You also have a carbon copy field if you'd like, or a blind carbon copy field. You can enter a subject, and then down here is where you would type your regular message. And if you notice this, the message is a tab here, and you also have an attachments tab behind it. Let's click on that attachments tab, and you'll see that the 2 forms that you had selected from the customer screen are already attached as PDFs to this message. So once you have that email all prepared, you'll just click Send, and it will tell you that your message has sent. You can click OK, and then you can close out of this email. You'll notice that down here at the bottom of the screen there is an email log tab. When you send an email like that, any email that you send will appear in a list in this email log tab. And you can also access your email dialog by opening up the new email here. You can also delete an email from the list by selecting it and clicking Delete Email. So that's where all your emails will be recorded under each customer's record. Back on the Forms tab, you'll see this Export Form button. Let me show you what that does. The Export Form button allows you to open a static copy of the form, a version that cannot be changed. Let me show you what that looks like. So here it has opened up this form for me, but you'll notice that I can no longer type in the fields anymore. So it has created a version of this form that's no longer changeable. That's handy if you want to save a copy to your computer. That way you could email it from a different program if you wanted to email it in your regular email program, or just to have a copy saved on your desktop somewhere. That's how you would access the static copy of the form, through that export mode. So we'll close out of this and go back to the customer screen. You also have a copy form feature here. So I'm going to select my form and click Copy Form. You'll see that it is asking you if this is the form you want to copy, and it'll give you the date entered, the form name, and the form description. If you want to change the form description, you'll just enter a different one here. And then down here at the bottom, you can see that you can copy this to your current customer, or you can copy to a different customer. I'm going to choose to copy to a current customer. And you'll see here that it has copied that form and added it to my forms list down here at the bottom. And I can make any changes that I might need to. I can go in and edit that form directly from this customer's screen now. The Sign Form button would allow you to add signatures to the form. Let me show you how that feature works. The first thing that you'll need to do in order to add a signature is to actually save a signature for this customer. So let's go here to the Signature tab. And you'll see here that you have the option to add or edit a signature. So we're going to click that. Here you can choose whether you want to sign right here using your mouse or your touchscreen, your tablet, or you can also upload an image file of a signature. For this one, I'm going to just sign using my mouse. When you've finished your signature, you'll just want to click the Save button. And you'll see that it has placed that signature there under the Signature tab on the customer screen. So you have a signature saved for this customer. Now the other way that you can use signatures is with the sales representatives, because many Accord forms have fields for both signatures for customers and also signatures for sales rep. So let's go into our sales rep screen and look at what it would look like to add a signature for a sales rep. You'll see here at the bottom of the sales rep screen there's a Signature tab, so let's click that tab. You're going to select Add Edit Signature just like you did in the customer screen. This time I want to show you what it's like to upload an image file of a signature. So I'm going to select that option. Click here to choose the file. You'll navigate to where you have a scanned signature already saved on your computer, and you'll select that signature. You'll click Open, and you'll see that it has that signature ready there on the signature screen. You'll click Save. And here it has placed the signature on the signature tab under this sales rep's record. So we're going to save that record, the sales rep record. We're going to go back to the customer screen, and now let me show you how you can actually add the signatures to the forms. We're going to go back here to the Forms tab. On the Forms tab, you're going to select the form that you want to add signatures to, and you're going to select the Sign Form button here. You'll be able to reach this pull-down list of your sales reps and select the sales rep whose signature you want to appear on this form, and then you'll also select the customer's signature. I will note that for this sales rep pull-down, you'll be able to see all of your sales rep signatures on every customer, but for this customer you'll only be able to see that customer's signature, so you'd have to go to whichever customer's record that you're looking for in order to access their signature. Once you've selected your signatures, you'll click OK, and that it will populate those signatures here, showing you that that form has been signed. But let me show you what that looks like on the actual form. We're going to click on that form, and we're going to click Edit Form to open it. The form will open up for you, and you can scroll down to wherever it has the signatures on the form. This form has it all the way at the bottom of page 3. And here you go, you can see that it has pre-populated that customer signature and the sales rep signature for us in the applicant and producer signatures section. So that's how you use the signatures feature of Forms Boss Web. You'll see here on the Forms tab, you also have an Edit Date Description button. If you want to select a form, you can click Edit Date Description, and you could edit the date entered. You could make changes to that either with the calendar button, or you could just type in a different date, or you could make changes to that form description, or you could even blank out the form description if you didn't want to have one anymore. And once you had made those changes, you could just click OK. I'm not actually going to make any changes right now, but that's what you would use that button for. You can also delete a form. So if I wanted to take a form out of my list, I would just select the form and then click Delete Form. It will ask for confirmation, and you'll just click Yes, and it will remove that form from your record. I also want to note that in this Forms tab, you can reorder your forms using these headings across the top of the list. So if you want to have your forms organized by the date entered, you can click that date entered, ascending or descending. You can do an alphabetical list by the form name, ascending or descending, and also by the form description, and even by the sales rep signature. So you can order your forms just by clicking those headings across the top. I already showed you the email log tab here. This Notes tab will allow you to just type notes about this customer, anything that you might want to remember that there's not another field for in Forms Boss. You can just keep record of that here under your Notes tab. And again, I've already showed you the Signature tab there. So that gives you an idea of the basic features of Forms Boss Web. If you have any further questions, feel free to give us a call, and we'll look forward to helping you learn how to use our software.